All right, here with Coach Hart and Coach Leininger, and you can see that they have a brand new book, Breaking Down the Wall, Training the High School 400-meter runner. And I think we're confident that they know a little bit about the 400, but where did the idea for the book come from?
Well, I think it germinated that there was so much misinformation floating around that this type of training was too difficult, and kids were discouraged because they didn't want to work that hard, blah, blah, blah. And so let's just go out and do a little bit of running and we can have success. And that's just not going to happen. And then with the Olympics, not getting a medal at all in the 400 didn't sit well with me. So I saw kind of a decline in some information, and this hopefully will straighten out the fact that the 400 has moved on. Our program produced NCAA champions and conference champions before we switched to a more aerobic type approach. And since then we had won one national championship in the relay prior to switching to this new system. Since then we won 20 national championships in the relay and about 9 national individual 400 championships. And that can't be by accident. So we didn't really change our workouts, we just changed how we were doing our workouts to give the kids more aerobic and a little bit less anaerobic, because the new charts, there are always charts out there, and the 400 was a 90-10 approach. 90% of it was anaerobic and only 10% of running the quarter was aerobic. It turns out, by pure accident, training Michael Johnson to keep him healthy in 1990, our approach was more 60-40 to keep him healthy. But it turns out he was running faster off of that training, so we never switched. And from that day on, we had 20 national championships in the relays and about 8 to 10 national individual champions. So, and world records and gold medals. So we were producing good quarter milers prior to the change, but the jump in it was amazing. If you just gave them a little bit of more aerobic work to augment, to give their energy system, enable them to break through the wall. And that simply means that too many kids were hitting the wall about 40 seconds and they weren't prepared to bring it home because they didn't have the aerobic capacity.
So when you get a college kid, Michael, Jeremy, whoever it is, you get them 20 hours a week.
Yep.
A high school coach obviously is limited in his time. So in this book designed for high school, what is the main takeaway that you were able to change and focus on the high school coach?
Yeah, so I come from a high school coaching background, and we used, at the school I coached, we used Coach Hart's system, and it worked amazingly. And so what I've seen high school coaches do is say, well, that's too much. That's a college program, that's a elite program. But really the concept is the same. The 400-meter dash, the science behind it is the same for everyone. So what we've done in the book is we've figured out some of the volume, how to bring it down, some of the workouts, how to make them more accessible. Because really you're thinking about, there is a big difference between a 25-year-old Olympian compared to a 15-year-old freshman. And so we have to consider that. So the book really takes Coach Hart's program that worked obviously incredibly well. I mean, in my opinion, this is the greatest coach ever for the 400-meter dash. It's hard to argue against that, but in my opinion, he figured it out before the scientists figured it out. So what we've done is we've taken that plan and kind of made modifications to make it accessible for high school coaches and athletes, because the reality of the event is the same either way. So the book really has some ideas that are specifically targeted to high school coaches.
All right, now
the thing, to just hear a little further, the 20-hour week, we never used all of that.
Right.
Our workouts, 1 hour, even the day of the volume work. Once we got on the track, our warm-ups are usually 30 minutes. Workout never exceeded 20 minutes, and usually it was 15 minutes, and the cool down another 20. So an hour to hour and 10 minutes, the time they hit the track, they could get all the volume work. And the all-season work, we never exceeded the 1 hour a day. So that wasn't a problem. I think the problem was it was just too much work. That it's easy to just go out and run 10 by 50 yards and go to the house and say, that's going to do it, instead of going out and run something else that will take maybe 10 minutes longer.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because a lot of high school coaches will think, well, and they're in college, of course, they get them 20 hours a week. I don't have that luxury, but the way you just explained it, actually, really, you do.
We never used it.
Yeah,
really, you do.
Coming from a high school, like we implemented this program, hour and a half practices. You know, like, yeah, school at 3, we're done by 4:30. It's a very realistic, pragmatic approach to high school training.
Where can we get the book?
So you can buy it on Amazon.
Because we're sold out here at the Winter Clinic.
Yeah, we sold out here. You buy it on Amazon. If you just search for the title and the authors, you'll find it on Amazon. And that's probably the easiest way for most people to get a copy.
And people won't believe, we didn't get into this thing to make any money on it. And that's the truth. We wanted to get the information. We thought it was important that to set the record straight, that there is a change. And the change means you've got to give your kids more road. There's a reason that we didn't get a medal this last Olympics. And we had kids running 43 and 44 seconds at the Olympic trials. They ran 45, 45.6 at the games because they ran out of gas. And that will happen if you only go on to the anaerobic approach. You just don't have the background.
Gotcha. Coach, one last question. Obviously, the list of 400 athletes, Michael, Sonia, Jeremy, Dion, who's here at Fort Bend Christian Academy now. But last night at the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, another of your athletes was inducted into our Hall of Fame. Can you tell us a little bit about Daryl Williamson?
Well, Daryl Williamson he was a quality quarter model when I got him. I mean, it was just a matter, don't mess him up. Daryl was just a competitor. What I loved about Daryl is that he came in at the same time that Jeremy was there, which you would be intimidated by. But instead of that, they became best friends and they worked out together. They went 1-2 at the NCAA championships in 2004. But Daryl elected to come back. He could have turned pro. Jeremy turned pro after the Olympics. Daryl got a gold medal along with actually he anchored the 4x4 relay because he did that at Baylor. And Jeremy told the coaches, I want Daryl anchoring the relay. I've hit the tape already. Let him do it. I mean, that was a tightness. But Daryl Williamson got a very lucrative contract that year. But he elected to come back because he had promised his grandmother, as I did, that he'd get his degree from Baylor University. Also, he came back and had the what I call guts to say, I'm going to win the NCAA next year and up my stock, and he did that. And he got a much better contract. So that's the kind of guy Daryl was. Daryl was an unbelievable competitor. As far as a relay runner, bar none. That's why he was running that anchor.
And what does it mean to you when you see him get inducted last night, but he has his wife? He has 4 children. I mean, this goes beyond the track.
It does. And it goes beyond the fact that when I recruited him, he was living with his grandmother, with his 2 younger brothers. They had been in foster care, and I won't go into all the details, but it's amazing. He's turned out to be as I told him, he's a super 400 runner, but he's a super dad, and that's a major thing. He has a wonderful family, and done well, and a great wife, and I'm as proud of him for that as getting a gold medal. I really am. I mean, that's what it's all about. To do both, that really makes it good.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Coach Leininger, if you could close us out with a statement on this book, because let's face it, we all need to own this.
So this book, what we wanted to create was the book that we wish we had at the beginning of our career. So this book, I think, kind of avoids some pitfalls, some mistakes that I think we made, and it really takes the program for the high school level. So this is the book I wish I would have had my first year coaching track and field. So that's kind of what we hope to create with this book.
Fantastic.
We've updated the charts. Charts, and all the manuals that are out there, if they hadn't got the latest research. We were 10 years ahead of the scientific charts that came out later, and they were simply validating what we did out of necessity to keep Michael Johnson healthy. We went to a slower approach, which meant you're going to get more aerobic work because you got to do more volume, and it was working, so we stayed with it. And lo and behold, research showed years later the percentage was wrong, and the percentage we had been using was the right amount, which only figures because by then we held the world record in the event and other things. So it was logical that that was the right system.
Awesome. Gentlemen, thank you very much. and we look forward to, you know, more great things coming from both of you. The book is out on Amazon, so please go ahead and go grab a copy.
That's right. And thank you, Stuart, for having us and giving us this opportunity.
Appreciate it.